Show us the fucking money. It's time to lay it on me. Cause what's mine is ours. This shit belongs to the army. Gon' need to see them Benjis. We hungry for them tendies. Give us this day our daily bread. Show us the fucking money.
This ain't financial advice, just a little DD to help you think twice. We hold for each other, eyes on the prize. The new floor's 200,000 times 5. I joke, I kid, no, I don't know a damn thing. I'm as simple as Bubba trying to sell some damn shrimp. Can't spell IQ, can't even count to 10. And I eat crayons every day with my friends. I think about Kenny in his ivory tower, shaking in his lily boots as the apes overpower. Must suck to lose to monkeys, so dumb. But you made your bed and you got nowhere to run. I'd love to be a fly on the wall when he makes the prize fall. And he watching as we keep buying more. You forgot we on the float blind, 2 hours old. Lie, stop breaking the law, asshole.
Show us the fucking money. It's time to lay it on me. Cause what's mine is ours. This shit belongs to the army. Gon' need to see them Benjis. We hungry for them tendies. Give us this day our daily bread. Show us the fucking money.
Stupid ass, throwing all my money at the streets like a quarterback. MPD don't mean a thing, water up a duck's back. Apes not leaving nothing till we get the money stacks. Monkey see, monkey do, monkey holding till it blue. Monkey magic coming through, through us monkeys on the moon. Double digit IQ, Tendy loving bamboo. Right here we got more smoothies than a jumbo juice. Probably thought you coulda made us sell all the gooder. In hell we maybe woulda, but we more zen than the Buddha. The floor 6 figures ain't selling for less. You took on the ape nation and you're fucking with the best. We hold for each other, my sisters and my brothers, the fighters and the lovers. We don't need another fan because we huddle through hard times and struggles. Cause we're just a couple of diamonds in the rough.
Show us the fucking money. It's time to lay it on me. Cause what's mine is ours. This shit belongs to the army. Gon' need to see them Benjis. We hungry for them tendies. Give us this day our daily bread. Show us the fucking money.
Moon Gang.
Welcome to Power Hour. Dumb Money Power Hour with me. Hey, Matt, coming at you live from my mom's basement once again. Hope you're having an absolutely fantastic Tuesday, October 26th. Boy, oh boy, what an interesting midday section. Very, very interesting. So a couple things I want to talk to you about right off the bat to get into it before we do some of the TA and the breakdown is, well, I guess first of all, I hope you had a great lunch. I hope you had a great afternoon, morning, evening, night, whatever it is. I hope you had an absolutely fantastic one because as you can see, if you've been paying attention to the market, it does seem like we're seeing a bit more volatility, definitely seeing some volatility. I find it to be interesting. Let's talk about all of it. Let's talk about absolutely every single aspect of it. So SHIB, congratulations if you're in SHIB. I know a lot of people are just saying it's dumb, it's a meme coin. Why'd you be in a meme coin? Well, meme coin or not, you're making money. It just hit a new all-time high, just shy of 50. In fact, the level is currently 49.80, just shy of 50. Looking to take some of the zeros off of this, but congratulations. With this is more of a technical momentum follow through. Maybe if we're talking about something that spurred it is maybe people realize that Motley Fool is just a complete joke. They're like 2 reasons to sell Shiba Inu. Maybe they're like, oh, okay. Sounds like we have 2 reasons to buy Shiba Inu for all I know. But does this surprise anyone? Motley Fool, unable to understand anything that's out of its own financial, like, fundamental breakdown of things. Like, how could that happen? The rally is speculative. Come on. So maybe that's a catalyst, but I don't Hey, if you're in it, you're making money. Just always use good risk reward setups. And a little bit more of the granddaddy of them all, Bitcoin. This could be fun. Valkyrie. Remember, that's the other company. ProShares had a Bitcoin futures ETF that came out early last week. And then on Friday, Valkyrie came out with theirs. And they're actually just filing now for a leverage one. So if you're like, hey, I like Bitcoin futures, but I want more juice, more, manja. Well, right here, you're going to get it. You're getting a leverage one. So they filed for it. It's not the crate. It's 1.25. It's not like we're coming in at like 15x leverage on Bitcoin. 1.25 for the people who are just, they're a little bit loose with their bets. So right there. I guess it's going to be trading under BTFX, just so you know. But once again, it's not out. It just filed today. So I think it's going to take some time. But be on the lookout for BTFX, especially for people who want leveraged exposure to Bitcoin futures. Once again, Valkyrie, they were the second one to come out with the Bitcoin futures last week on Friday, following ProShares. But hey, it's just opening up more notoriety, more accessibility into the world of crypto, which I'm definitely going to be a fan of. Speaking of which, right now, Bitcoin is trading at 62,000. I think it's going to end up making a higher low. I think patience is key. It's looking good. I'm really, really liking how Ethereum is looking, still holding 4,200, not too far away from an all-time high on ETH there. Matic, a phenomenal run off of $1.18 up to $1.80. I mean, that's a crazy 60 cent run, which on a stock it was $1.18. That's insane. That's a 50% run in a very minimal amount of time. So Matic also looking great. Solana made a new all-time high yesterday. Crypto is absolutely crushing it. Crypto is definitely crushing it. So all of that's exciting. And I want to do more of a breakdown specifically on PROG. That seemed to be the topic of discussion over in the Moon Gang server today. So I just want to share a little bit about that. I'm in no way trying to say like I'm an expert and this is everything going on with PROG. But let me put it this way. The Discord was convincing enough that I am now long on PROG. I don't have the biggest position, but it's also not nothing. I don't know. If anything, it's just ensuring that I don't wrap all my money up in crazy Tesla bets. But to like forewarn you on everything about PROG, obviously I was convinced. I'm bullish. I like what's going on. And this might surprise a lot of you, but this is in no way a short squeeze play in my book. Obviously, I think it'd be cool to benefit off of that. Like, I would like the shorts to get squeezed. I think they deserve to get squeezed, but I actually just kind of like where the company is heading. So I want to talk a little bit about that. But before we get into it, let me give you AMC and GME update. So GME looking pretty rough this morning, 172, and then we got a pump all the way up to 185. A lot of this relates to that job filing that we were talking about earlier this morning. If you haven't heard about that, GameStop is betting on cryptocurrency even more, as revealed by a recent job listing suggesting that the firm is looking to join Facebook in developing the metaverse. Now, I like this. I truly think that cryptocurrency, for various reasons, blockchain technology is going to be a key aspect of future technology. So in terms of improving the fundamental direction of where GME is going, I think this is a very smart move. And this is coming back, it's on the back of basically right here, the Web3 gaming project. So this is from the people over at Benzinga. Shout out. What happened? GameStop recently filed a LinkedIn job listing that says the firm is looking for a candidate to fill its product owner, head of Web3 gaming remote job. The listing reveals that the candidate should have experience with Ethereum, ETH, what we were just talking about, 4,200, love it, NFTs, and blockchain-powered gaming platforms. So I kind of like that. Blockchain-powered gaming platforms. I like that. It's a unique spin. I would like to know what their project is truly looking to do. But beyond that, I mean, just NFTs themselves, like we know, that's huge. I mean, it's over a $10 billion industry. It 8x'd in the last quarter. Obviously, a lot of money, and I don't think it's one of these things that's a fad. I do think NFTs are here to stay. Maybe not necessarily in the sense of like just pure digital art, but the concept of a non-fungible token, something that is unique ownership and it can be quickly verified. Oh, well, clearly that has a place in future technology. In late May, GameStop also launched its in-house NFT marketplace, for which the company is apparently still hiring staff. The listing also outlines a future of the gaming industry that is closely reminiscent of the metaverse Facebook is working on. The company said games are places you'll go and blockchains will power the commerce beneath. The firm's head of Web3 gaming will also be tasked with integrating those virtual worlds with various blockchains and Ethereum second layer scalability solution. I very much like this. I very, very much like this. Like I said, both Ryan Cohen and Adam Aaron, the leaders that they are, have used the Black Swan event that occurred to their stock to raise more money. They use that extra money to re-aim the trajectory of where the companies were going. And right now, both have been highly improved of their initial trajectory. Without the Black Swan event of January and then AMC in June, it would have never been possible. They just would have not had the opportunity to do at the market offerings and raise more money. But right here, you have GameStop really getting into the world of crypto, which I think is very smart. Obviously, AMC got into crypto in a different mannerism, as in accepting it for payment. But beyond that, I'm impressed with AMC taking on showcasing NFL games, fights, concerts. A lot of people are asking them about how can they possibly get into the world of sports betting, as in like you're there, you're watching the game, maybe you're partnering up with DraftKings or something like that. And also don't forget, I know it was just like one fleeting sentence, but do not forget on national television that Adam Aaron has announced he has reached out to GameStop. It sounds like it was very introductory, and I think it would be maybe not the most jaw-dropping business move of fundamentally improving it, but just the social media craziness that would ensue, some sort of dual partnership of them working on something between AMC and Gme, a way that they could do it. Like, I don't know if GameStop hosts an esports event and then it's theaters. I don't know. I'm just spitballing an idea. But if there's some way, even on a minuscule level, that these two could come together and work on a project, both of the bases would be so incredibly energized that it would just rip the faces off the shorts. Like I said, I don't think an event between the two would necessarily be like the thing that like vastly improves the fundamentals and like 10x's their value, but it might from just pure enthusiasm of both of their bases. And I know obviously there's a huge overlap between the two. So right there, that's exciting. Right, it is a job posting, so it tells me that we're far away. Obviously, they have to interview, they have to get the guy or gal to start working. This person from there would then take quite a bit of time. Like, I'm not saying that this is going to be turned around in like a week or two. Like, it's going to take time, but it's nice just to get an idea of where their head's at and where they're trying to go. And if it involves crypto, I mean, sign me up. Now, I do think that this enthusiasm in GameStop throughout the day, this was announced this morning. This isn't like it didn't come out of nowhere. But the fact that both of these, GameStop and AMC, and I'll come back to AMC in a second, but GameStop, it was at support, it was holding 175, and then just buyers bought in. I like that. Demand was found, and I don't think that AMC was too far behind. I think a lot of the times it's not that crazy when you see these two moving in a similar manner. I'm never going to say lockstep. We know that there are times they can deviate, but if you look at it today, like they are similar looking charts. So my best idea on AMC, it was more so of like the people who watch Gme and see this explosion, they're like, well, hang on, maybe I missed the boat on that one, so let's see if AMC, and then it very quickly becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Another option is maybe just karma itself wanted to prove Gasparina wrong. So very early at 10:55, he said, nice, AMC MOAS. I don't get it. This guy will go on national TV in an attempt to play nice. He's like, I really like Adam Aaron. Adam Aaron is the best freaking leader we've ever seen. He's great. He's great. I want the company to be a success. And then a day or two later, he's somehow rooting that it's going down. Let's not even at first think about the retail people who are just losing money, as if he's happy retail's losing money, the potential millions of people who are negatively impacted by an adverse stock movement. Let's move past that. What, he's rooting that it goes down when the company itself has thousands and thousands of employees? I just don't get it. It's so two-faced. I love Adam Aaron. He's a leader. I want the company to be successful. Fast forward a day or two, seemingly happy that it's down 1.66%. Nice. Like, just like, what a piece of shit. Like, it's one thing if you're like, hey, I don't believe in this short squeeze, but then to be rooting that it's dropping, knowing that people are losing money, I don't know. It just tells me where like his mindset's at. It's so despicable, I guess is the best word to like properly explain where his mindset at. Despicable and two-faced. I don't know how else you would look at it. I truly, truly don't. All right, AMC. Let's go into some of the numbers just so you know where we're at. They borrowed 1.4 million on the day for a net of 56, so pretty much net neutral. Estimated short interest around 16.5%. GME, they borrowed $500,000, which is sizable for GME, and that's pretty much the net on the day, and the estimated short interest is around 12%. Once again, for both AMC and GME, they are both estimated. For AMC in the options market today, the premium was bearish by 51.3% according to Unusual Whales. And let me check GME. That's a bit more bullish at 56.5%. But I do have another data source to share with you. And just so you know, this one is saying it's bullish. It doesn't give a percentage like that. There was a big dark pool print at 9:30 and 2 seconds. It took 2 seconds into the day, and someone loaded up on $10.6 million worth, which was about 290,000 shares of AMC. Now, before you guys go absolutely crazy about dark pools, yes, dark pools do have a material impact on price. I'm not sure who the person is that is spreading this falsehood that dark pools don't impact price, but please understand that if you're saying it doesn't impact price, I disagree with you. If you're like, well, I don't care about you, Matt, you're a YouTuber in your basement, understand that Dave Lauer disagrees with you. Mark Cohodes disagrees with you. Literally everyone that's a Wall Street professional disagrees with you. People who know about dark pools all understand that it does have a material impact on price. Does that mean that crazy things don't happen in dark pools? No, I have from the get-go said that I think their dark pools need more regulation, and I'm going to stand by that. But the things that I think need regulated, well, to even have that discussion, people have to understand that it does have a material impact on price. We all very much need to get on that exact same page. So once again, that was for AMC. This one is actually saying the sentiment is bullish. There's not a percentage, but it does point out the put to call ratio is 0.47, which means a lot more calls were bought and sold opposed to puts by almost 2x. And in terms of GME, no notable dark pool prints, but the flow is very bullish. All of the noteworthy flow, which seems to be spread, once again, this is for GameStop, between this Friday and January and a little bit in November, people are coming in pretty hard. Common strike prices are 200. I'm seeing some strike prices at 950. Whoa, when did that happen? At 2:08 p.m., we saw about, wow, $70,000 worth of $950 calls was being purchased. Interesting. $70,000 for a 950 strike for January 21st. Once again, this is for GME. Very, very interesting. Hey, maybe they know something we don't know. All right, so anyway, that's kind of your what's going on with AMC and GME. Tesla, I'm still in that. Obviously, I re-entered long. This was not a fun beatdown to 1,000, but it bounced off of that. We did get up and got rejected at the resistance from earlier today. Would love for this to actually close above 1,050. That would make me feel better as a human being. But hey, let's see how it plays out. Now let's talk a little bit about PROG. Progenity. What's going on? Currently trading at 394, but it had a hectic pre-market. At one point, it was at 340, and before you know it, it was all the way up at 646. And like right now, we're pretty much trading at 4. PROG is, as I'm filming this, up 16% on the day. PROG, certain people have been speaking about it. It's been brought up. This isn't coming out of left field. And I need to make this very, very clear to anyone who might potentially have the idea. This is not a pump and dump. It's by no means a pump and dump. The only reason I'm bringing this up is because I just saw some ding dong on Twitter say that PROG is a pump and dump. If you say PROG is a pump and dump, you haven't done your research on it. I could give you the numbers right here. They've borrowed 1.88 million against it today. Short interest is 67%, utilization 99.9%, shares on loan 34.63 million. Very, very interesting, especially when there's about 47 million in the free float, roughly. About now, if you look at the November monthlies, there's about 25% of the entire float in the money, which is impressive. So with all these numbers, you could be like, wow, like these numbers are high. The cost of borrow is 274%. A lot going on there. It's a strong candidate for an FTD short squeeze, and it might do that. I'm long on it. I think that'd be cool to happen. But honestly, that's not what I find to be the most interesting about this company, like whatsoever. So here's their website. Their mission, helping families navigate the patient journey and prepare for life. That just sounds like kind of a classic thing, what's going on. They kind of deal in the world. Let me actually find this right here. Nope, I clicked on the exact same thing. We aim to improve the diagnosis of disease and improve patient outcomes through localized treatment and targeted therapies. So to my understanding right here of what they're really focusing on, kind of, I guess 2 to 3 different things. If you click through their website right here, preeclampsia, a disease that sounds to not be that good. They're kind of battling that. Gastrointestinal health, that's another field that they deal with. And the one that I find particularly interesting is their oral biotherapeutics. All these other ones, they deserve to be looked into. It is all impressive. I'm not saying that it's not. I'm just saying the one from a fundamental standpoint that I find to be the most impressive is their potential within oral biotherapeutics. To be completely honest, I need to spend more time. I've started my own, I guess, DD of what's going on, and I just want to do more. But recently, they won a series of patents. And one of these patents had to do with some sort of oral delivery for a medicine. And that particular medicine of where this could theoretically be applied to is Humira. Now, if you don't know about Humira, it's kind of a big deal. It's one of the biggest selling, I guess, medicines, aka treatments in the world. And if you look at the company that owns that, ABBV, well, check out their revenues. I mean, in 2016, we were talking about 25 million. And in the trailing 12 months right here, we're all the way up to 54 million. And if you look at the trends of the part of revenue of ABBV that is attributed to Humira, percentage-wise, it is dropping. Yes, there's a little bit more Humira competition, and they are also developing other drugs and have other drug ownership. But even with this, if you look at the most, I guess, conservative numbers, Humira is, you could probably say at least very conservatively, a $10 billion a year market. Conservatively. I'm trying to make it as conservative as I can because that really tells me where we're at from a fundamental standpoint. Well, if you take that into consideration, Humira being that big of a drug, right now, it sounds like the main way it is administered to people who need it is through an injection. Well, that patent that PROG just came out with and its study of Humira, we're talking right there, back to the oral biotherapeutics, as in they've come up with a way that we're looking to hit like the market, allowing people to take their Humira through a pill, which is obviously going to be highly preferred versus an injection. Well, if you run the quick numbers there, Humira being a $10 billion a year market conservatively, and probably all of its competitors, I mean, I don't think it's that crazy that they would be able to expand their patent to taking a very similar drug and just instead of an injection, we're all taking it orally, whoever needs to take it. Well, PROG is a $520 million company. If they're able to completely disrupt a $10 billion a year, and that's just that one drug, I mean, it just seems like fundamentally it's a fair argument that PROG should be worth more. So that's just kind of like the high level view of what PROG is. It's really not my cup of tea necessarily, because I don't really know too much about the world of biotherapeutics, medical, nursing services. Like, there is more to dive into, and I feel a lot more comfortable with tech. But just from the basics of a fundamental breakdown of what I see in PROG, I mean, if it has a short squeeze, I think that's cool, and it probably deserves its own video of why it has such a high short interest. Seems like some hanky-panky stuff going on in the background. But I'm just saying straight up, if you look at an evaluation of 500 million roughly, and then this company is the one with its patent that it just received, potentially upending a $10 billion plus market, you think just fundamentally it would be worth more. So I think that's very, very interesting. The reasoning for the craziness this morning has to do with them handling their debt. Progenity reduces outstanding debt by 20.15 million through a private exchange of 20.15 million of its 7.25% convertible senior notes due 2025 of shares of common stock. So if you look into the 8K filing with this, it is not dilution. It's not like extra shares hit the market yet. Theoretically, in the future, they could hit the market if these bonds are converted, but that's something like down the line of what could or couldn't happen. So right now there was no dilution, but people were excited that they took care of some of their debt. So just like another little thing that it pivoted itself in a stronger fundamental position. But with this, I mean, when it comes to companies like these, you want them to be successful. If they're coming up with an oral biotherapeutic, an improvement opposed to getting injections, and that helps people out, of course you want a company to be like this to be successful, especially if like what they're doing is just for the betterment of humanity. And then you click on it and you say, whoa, why does it have a 66.6% short interest? It becomes an interesting play. It definitely becomes an interesting play. So to make this explicitly clear, I picked up a position. It's on the smaller size. I didn't go like all in on this play just because I want to do more DD of like what the situation is. At first, I was kind of avoiding it just because I was like, okay, like how many FTD short squeeze plays do I really want to get involved with? But this one where it's like actually fundamentally undervalued, and on top of that, the kicker is that it could theoretically squeeze. I was like, oh, I'll take that bet. Not a bad deal. I mean, for me, I'm taking crazy bets that are involving situations such as the insanity of just like Tesla YOLO plays. So for me to take more of a well-founded bet, hey, I'll take it. Why not? All right, what else do we have? BIMI has been in Halt City 4 times in 20 minutes. Talk about it. I mean, Halt's just, no one really decides it like that. If it moves too much in a short period of time, such as this, it's going from 60 cents up to 260, that's going to trigger a lot of volatility halts. This is not decided by a broker. This is decided by the overall market, and it's halted on all exchanges. It's not like some people are still trading it. If a stock is halted, it's halted for everyone. What do you think about RDBX? RDBX, Red Box Entertainment. Is that the thing that's like outside the stores and like you just get the DVD? No, seems different. This is a SPAC. It's a SPAC. I don't know who they acquired, so I don't know much about it. Airdrop coming. DeFi is the future. Ask Finance brings DApps to the forefront of DeFi. ASCO. RVVTF as an oral therapeutic in phase 3 has begun mass production. 5 billion pills will complete results before Pfizer. So RVVTF, with the fact that it's 5 letters, tells me it's not trading. It's trading on like the OTC, like gray market. It's not trading on a normal exchange if it has like those 5, or it's a mutual fund, but that's not a mutual fund. So I think there's enough issues on normal exchanges, so I'm not going to go off to the gray market that's even less regulated. Check out ITRM. Penny stock therapeutics. I mean, it took enough of my arm twisting to get even into PROG. I'm definitely not going to be that interested in a penny stock therapeutic play. Yes, there are gaps that it could fill. So from a technical perspective, that is obviously interesting. But a biotech penny stock, it's just not my forte. Look at PROG options for November 21st. Yeah, so we talked about that a little bit. There is a high percentage already in the money that represents the float. So it could be interesting as if the stock picks up in price and we get that breakout of 4, 5, 6, there's going to be some FOMO buyers. As there's FOMO buyers, there's higher demand for more options. As there's higher demand for more options, they're going to build out the options chain more. As they build out the options chain more, there's more of a chance of a lot of out of the money calls, potentially deep out of the money calls going in the money. And when a lot of those things go in the money, that brings up the scenario of a gamma squeeze, which could lead to a short squeeze, which could also at any point produce more FOMO buying. So PROG, as you see it start to pick up, and then there's excitement there, and then they start to build out the options chain more, that tells you that like you're really potentially throwing some serious gasoline onto a fire, which could lead to some serious explosions. So I'm not in any way looking at this as like a shorter play. Like to me, it's medium term. I picked up some stock. So I'm happy to sit back, just kind of kick back and see how it all plays out. Out of my own curiosity, how many of you listening right now are in PROG or know about PROG? In PROG, know about PROG, think PROG could do well. I'm just curious about how much of my own audience knows what's going to go on with, or has been following the PROG narrative. Serious question. Does anyone here know about Reddit and R Supersonk? And if you do, have you heard Matt ever talk about Supersonk? Not Reddit. Yeah, literally just the other day I brought up Dave Lauer's post on Supersonk, but also it's kind of a strange question. PROG. A lot of frog proggers. If I'm going to be completely honest with all of you, a lot of the discussion that we had in the midday about PROG was like, what should people who support PROG be called? Probably too much of the time was spent on that, but hey, you can't live life with regrets. It is important to figure out a good name for all the proggers. That actually wasn't the name that was agreed upon. I'm just saying it because it sounds fun. Thoughts on ChargePoint? Hey, it's another strong EV play, a little bit more upstream, I suppose, in a weird way, depending on how you think about it. I'm bullish on EV, but I'm most bullish on the automakers in EV, opposed to the tertiary related ones. So I think ChargePoint will do well. I really do. I just like Tesla, Lucid, and NIO better. But if I had to bet on ChargePoint's future, I think it'll be a green future. Accumulated 200 calls, 4,000 shares since $1.50. Shout out Brian. I hope you crush it. I hope you absolutely annihilate it. All right, where are we at on Tesla? Tesla. I guess it's breaking my heart on this Tuesday. Supposed to be at 5,000 by now. My DD on it is just the fact that I want it to be at 5,000. What else do we have? Microsoft earnings after bell. There's actually quite a few after the bell, I believe. Google, Microsoft, AMD, and then on Thursday we have Apple and Amazon. I haven't checked out. I'm invested in Microsoft. That's a core position in my long-term portfolio. I got in like a while ago and I just sat there and it's been crushing him. Judging by how some of the other tech ones have been doing, I would be surprised if Microsoft doesn't beat. But even with it beating or not, it hit its all-time high today. So then it becomes a question of, okay, does it beat by enough to justify the elevated price? So I think it'll beat on expectations, but the price reaction is a completely different story. DWAC put update. What is DWAC doing? Oh, I am crushing DWAC. I guess I shouldn't sound too jolly because I know some people are bag holding DWAC and I feel for you, but also What's your plan? What's your risk point? If you hit your risk point, you should cut your loss, obviously. And also in the morning stream, I announced to everyone that I bought puts. Like, I did not hide that from anyone. How do I see what I'm up? I'm clearly up, but I'm up 29% right now on my DWAC. And what my goal is, my trading plan is literally just this gap fill at 52. I've risked 82 and I got in around 70. So I was risking the $12 to the upside, and I got in at 72 looking for 52 for that $20 gain. But I didn't play it directly. I played it through puts. I played it through the November 19th puts. So just so everyone knows where I'm at, and that's my trading plan. I'm looking for this to hit 52, gap fill, and then I'll lock in my tendies. No biggie, no biggie, no biggie. Can I check Nvidia? Hit a new all-time high today. It's also looking very, very good. There is obviously this gap below it that needs to be considered. Nvidia is similar to Microsoft. I don't really actively trade it, but I own a decent amount of it in my long-term account. Nvidia is a company I want to hold for years and years and years, because it's the gold standard of processing chips. And when it comes to processing chips beyond streamers' computers, you're going to need that for AI. You're going to need that for data centers. You're going to need that for autonomous vehicles. It's just where I see technology trending. We are going to need superior, highly capable semiconductors, the GPUs, and Nvidia is currently the gold standard for that. With that being said, I still like AMD. I still like Intel. AMD is my second. Intel's my third favorite, but I still like them all. I just like Nvidia the best. But as of now, I don't know if I own Intel. I might, but I definitely own Nvidia and AMD. I'm positive I own those two, and both of them are still a long-term investment. I'm in Nvidia like before the split. I got into Nvidia sub 100 in 2017 before it even split. So like I'm massively up on it. AMD, I got in a little bit later. I got in at 110 back in August. I'm sitting on that still. I was risking 100. It came to my risk. Unfortunately, or fortunately, it didn't really break down, and I was able to get this ride to the new all-time high. So I'm in at 110 on AMD. So that one is a little bit closer, and Nvidia is so far past my entry point that it just does. Something catastrophic would have to happen. Thoughts on Ford, and also Ford becoming an eventual EV play? I mean, I would say it's an EV play now. Ford from 2010 till 2020 was in a perpetual downtrend, and then it announced it's going to get into EV, and that's the thing that actually helped the stock. So I would argue that it's currently an EV play, and really the reason of why Ford was able to pull a U-turn on its decade-long bear trend is because of EV, and I think it's going to be successful within it. I definitely do. I don't know if it'll necessarily outshine plays such as Lucid or definitely Tesla. I don't know if it's going to outshine those guys, but I think it's still a strong EV candidate, a play to get money from the rise of EV. Evening, Matt. Hope everything is well. Did you see the trend reversal on BKKT? I didn't. I saw that it was selling off today. How is BKKT doing now? It's kind of popping. So BKKT, what is it? A digital asset platform. They recently got a partnership with MasterCard, kind of getting them into the world of crypto. And then also Fiserv, Fiserv. They're also working on some crypto loyalty rewards for that company. So two big partnerships. That's why BKKT had such a crazy day yesterday. It is related to the world of crypto. So as crypto does better, I would assume that BKKT does as well. But on top of that, the partnerships are obviously a strong development. It just shows the seriousness of the company. Evening, Matt. Did you see how SHIB is destroying the market today? I saw that SHIB has a new all-time high of just below 50. It's hit 49.80. I think this continues to be very clear in the short term. SHIB is flexing its muscles a lot. It's flexing. WTRH, Matt, got out DWSC at 95 and made 5K. Shout out, Matt Stuck Suspenders. Shout out. Made 5K. That's awesome. And let's talk about WTRC, internet retail trading on the NASDAQ. Oh, I think this thing might be cruising up to 250. Resistance, support, key level, nice breakout. I'd be watching 250. It feels a bit chasey. If you already have a position, that's what I would watch. Would I hop in at 208? Well, no, because I don't want to risk 140. PROG is back on reg show. I'm sure more FTDs were added today from the pre-market drop. Bullish AF. Did you see Gensler's tweet? I did not. Let's see what Gensler's up to. Our buddy Gensler. Gary Gensler. What does plumbing have to do with meme stocks? Find out here. All right, this sounds like it could be an interesting watch. Let me make sure we're all mentally prepared for this.
What is clearing and settling? And what do they have to do with a company named GameStop? In January, several retail brokerage applications restricted customer access to trading in certain meme stocks, like GameStop, as you recall. The market was extremely volatile, up and down, and many investors were told at a critical moment that they couldn't purchase stock. Understandably, these decisions drew a lot of questions. Access to our markets was restricted. And I share the frustration of investors who were locked out from making certain transactions. Everybody should have access to our capital markets. We're taking a close look at the events of earlier this year. Where we find that there was wrongdoing anywhere in our markets, we'll pursue it. One thing we do know that drove part of this, though, was the plumbing. No, not that kind of plumbing. Market plumbing.
That's a good joke.
Behind our retail trades is something called a clearinghouse. They exist to reduce the risk of our capital markets by stepping between buyers and sellers to help ensure that they get their securities on one side and cash on the other. They also add some time between when you execute a buy order, for example, and when you actually get the stock. If you enter into a trade on a Monday, say, the cash and securities don't finish changing hands until Wednesday. That's called two-day settlement. But what if the price goes way up and the seller no longer wants to hand over securities? Or what if the broker goes out of business before that 2 days were up? So clearinghouses need to have rules standing in the middle to reduce those risks. And importantly, the parties to the trade need to post some money called collateral, or technically margin, to cover any of those potential losses. So back to January, the significant volatility, the trading volume in these meme stocks like GameStop prompted larger than usual calls for money, margin calls on these brokerage applications. A number of brokers then stepped in and restricted investors' ability to purchase certain stocks. These decisions raise a number of questions about the rules and procedures for brokers. Separately, they also prompted questions about whether we could lower the risk by addressing the plumbing. The longer it takes for a trade to settle, the slower the plumbing. The more risk our markets assume, the more risk, fundamentally, that we all assume. The good news, though, is we now have the technology to shorten that plumbing to 1 day, or even perhaps the same day you buy a stock on Monday, you get it on Tuesday, or maybe even Monday evening. I've asked the staff of the Securities and Exchange Commission to put together a draft proposal for the Commission's review on this topic. In the meantime, I encourage you to read more about the meme stock events in the SEC staff's recently published GameStop report. Check it out on our website, sec.gov.
I mean, how does Hollywood not come knocking after a performance like that? That was something that I think we all learned something valuable in that. The delivery reminds me of this guy, quadruple witching, like just another superior.
I'm Matt, and I'm coming at you through the interwebs.
You hear that
to
same
talk about
cadence?
Quadruple witching. Ooh, I know it's a pretty weird sounding financial term, but knowing what it is and its implications will help you be better prepared for some surprising.
I think they went to the same acting coaches, like very honestly. I'm seeing a lot of similarities in the jokes coming at you live from the interwebs, or the classic stock market plumbing one. Similar vein of jokes, and this cadence is the timing. Like they went to the same actor. I guarantee it. If you reach out to this YouTuber and if you reach out to Gary Gensler, exact same acting school. I would bet any amount of money, these guys were trained by the same people, trained by the exact same people. With it, I mean, he's right. Like what he was talking about, like that's settlement. And that's why we talk about the settlement cycle needing to be improved. Because here's what happens. For those of you here, maybe this will make a little bit more sense, and I'll try to do it with like a normal speaking cadence. When you buy on something like Robinhood or Webull, they say, cool, we'll get you. Let's say stock XYZ is at $10. Well, they spot you that. They're like, okay, cool. We owe you XYZ at $10. But what they do, it's called net settlement. At the end of the day, the brokerage looks at all these people bought, all these people sold, and it's the net difference. Do they need to go to the clearing broker and get shares, or do they need to go to the clearing broker and get rid of shares? It's net, the position of everyone on their brokerage. It's not like, oh, you bought, we're going to buy for you right now. It's the net at the end of the day. And what they'll do is when it comes back, they just give the stock, or they own the stock, because it's always net. They're not going to actually give it to you. You never really have direct ownership of said stock. Well, in a crazy scenario like GME in January or AMC in June, what happens is people are net buyers and they bought all day. So if the stock runs all day, in that example of 10 to 20, at the end of the day, it's at 20. So Robinhood or Webull, they have to go buy it for 20, even though they owe it to you at 10. And this most of the time balances out of like not too much of a change in a net settlement. And usually they have enough money at the broker or the clearing brokerage, the DTCC, the NSCC more specifically. They usually have enough margin to cover it. But what happened, especially in January related to GameStop, was there were so many net buyers and they were spotting the price all day, every day, throughout the day as it was up, and it ran so much that they didn't even have enough money at the NSCC to they had to be a net buyer, and then they had to give all that stock to everyone. They simply just did not have enough money, and it was because of net settlement. And if you want to argue if net settlement is good or bad, man, that very quickly becomes an academic debate. I think it's pretty obvious that we can speed all the way up to T evening settlement. Right now we're on T2. Gensler was relating to T1 of like, oh, you could get it the next day. He's like, or maybe you could even get it that night. He's talking about T evening, and we have the technology. We used to be T5, then we went to T3. We're now on T2. The technology and the argument is very obvious to go all the way up to T evening, but it gets different in the functionality of how our markets work when you go from T evening to T instantaneous, and it all has to do with that net settlement. Is there enough of a benefit to outweigh the technology complications to settle everyone instantaneously? And like I said, that's a very high-end academic debate of what it would or wouldn't do to the system. But most people who've been paying attention, we're all on the exact same page of let's get to T evening, where you buy something and then the next day, like at market open, it's in your account. The technology's there. We can pull that off. It would help with a lot of the clogging issues that we see in stock market plumbing. And then the other stuff, it's kind of open to the debate, and we can have that debate as soon as we actually first get to T evening, or it's going to go T1, then hopefully T evening. And then from there, we can all discuss the nuances of instantaneous settlement, but that is a completely different can of worms. So that is what he's talking about. That's how the entire system went on such tilt, and people like Robinhood and Webull could no longer carry the risk because they simply did not have the capital. They didn't have the capital at all. If you believe Vlad Tenev, which be careful, you might want to trust them as far as you can throw them. He said that it was based on their capital requirements that they gave the NSCC, they should have been covered for more than 99% of all cases. And the case that happened was defined as a 5 sigma event, which means that the odds of it happening were 1 in 3.5 million. So that's why they said they didn't have a capital. They had the capital that was required of them. And since then, we've seen that the NSCC has increased capital requirements, obviously because of what happened in January. But it wasn't necessarily like at that point in time, in terms of capital, they were breaking any rules. Where it gets iffy, in my book, is first of all, I guess it's illegal, but like, should it be legal that they can make it a one-sided trade? I feel like if one major brokerage is like, hang on, we have to PCO this, almost all brokerages should stop the trading until they fix it, because it only took about a day for them to raise over $3 billion in capital. It did not take Robinhood much time. But with that being said, if they raised $3 billion in capital so rapidly, why? Why on God's green earth were there trading restrictions for many days, for like an entire handful of days of like, you can only buy this much stock, you can only get this much in options. At one point you couldn't do it at all. And then they kind of lightened it up. Like, if you raise money so quickly, why were there still restrictions many days later? And then from there, it all obviously gets even more interesting. Why one day do you have Gretchen saying that there's a liquidity issue, and then the next day on CNBC with Andrew Sorkin, Vlad Tenev is saying there's no liquidity issue? Like, one day, that's January 27th versus the 28th. Like, it's very flippant on that. It's like, well, is there a liquidity issue or is there not a liquidity issue? And I say that a bit facetiously because obviously there was a liquidity issue. Clearly, they said that. This isn't conjecture. The company itself has said, holy shit, we have a liquidity issue. Crazy things going on. Baby Shiba Inu is a banger. Shiba Lite pre-sale at Pink sale, 60% burn after private sale tomorrow, both on BSC. Shiba is king. Boss already made more realized gains in PROG than any other stock this year. Thanks for the great DD today to get the word out. What's your price target? I don't have one. I think, honestly, PROG for me could end up becoming a long-term hold. Like, I like what they're doing. I see that there could be a lot of market share captured by them. It seems like they're a net benefit for our world. So it's one of those things that, like, even if it runs to, I don't know, some nice gain, let's say it doubles up, it goes from 4 to 8 in the short term. Well, what if it goes to 80 and all you had to do is hold it for like 5 years, 10 years? Like, I'll take that gain. I mean, some of my best plays have been these long-term holds, like something like Nvidia. I just got into it 4 years ago, and I'm so far away from my entry that I just sit back and relax now. It would be awesome. I got my PROG fill at $4. If I could hold this to 40, 100, 400, and I just have to wait, I'm fine with that. But I'll keep up to date on how the company plans on attacking the market and consuming more market share. What else do we have? Do you think if baby Shiba 70K holders 4 months? I see a lot of these comments about baby Shiba. Watching your channel, I was able to get in early to SPRT, PROG, and SHIB. Made 150K SPRT, 70K PROG, 5K and SHIB on early option contracts. Shout out, Andrew, you're crushing it. J Boogie, have I seen Gensler's tweet? We have now. We have now. What else do we have? AMC, it's at that important support of 36. We got this pump and then it's being sold off. This is pretty crazy. A lot of buying and now we see more selling to completely undo the move basically from, I guess, 1 p.m. At $36 is a key support. We are looking for demand to be found there. And if in the scenario that it breaks down, the next support would be just below 34. That's what I would be watching, at least on AMC personally. GME, looking for it to hold 175. What else do we have? Okay, I think I'm up to date there. I appreciate it. All right, Tesla, want that back above 150. Now that we're getting close to the end of the day, I would just kindly remind you, if you haven't already, it would mean a lot to me if you could hit that like button. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you're not a member of the Moon Gang. Liking, subscribing helps me out the algorithm. Also completely free. I would appreciate it if you have that quick second. As we get close to the end of the day on today, Tuesday, October 26th. Man, this month has flown by. Flown by. What else is going on in crypto? Oh, SHIB. SHIB's waking up. SHIB looks like it wants to break and move. Breaking out of its little bullish pennant we have going on. SHIB strong. People are buying. If you're trying to get in on SHIB or any other crypto, check out Voyager. It's pinned to the top of chat. You download it. You put in the code MAT21, MAT21, and as soon as you trade $100 of any crypto, you have to trade $100. Then they'll credit you with an extra $25 of Bitcoin. Just so you know, if you want something outside of the US or more of a larger platform, you could check out Coinbase. You could check out Gemini. Binance is out there. I don't have a link to that, or Kraken or KuCoin, but they're all pretty respected. Uphold, Gate.io. There's quite a few ones out there that you have solid options. And as we're talking, SHIB is getting going. Wow. I've never increased my SHIB position. Just whatever I was gifted by Voyager by doing one of their questionnaires. But where am I at right now? So I guess it's technically all pure profit. I didn't risk anything. Hang on, it's loading. Where are we at? My SHIB. I have 31 million. I was gifted it $200 at 0.637, and I'm currently up 674%, which is insane. 674%. That's crazy. That's absolutely insanity. Long on PROG, wanted to let you know PROG is participating in 2 upcoming conferences in relation to their product pipeline. Might be a catalyst. Thank you. Shout out Matt's Quivery colon. Maddie, is PROG progenity? Yes, progenity. I think that's how you say it. Correct, Sean. Can you tell us an embarrassing story? An embarrassing one. Let me think of a good one. I'm sure I have a ton of them. I'm just like naturally a guy who does stuff in an embarrassing manner. Oh, okay. So I was in first grade, and there was this girl in my first grade class, Jackie. And she lived on a farm. Her family was a generational, like this farm was a big farm. And we went on a field trip to her farm. And the farmer hand was walking us around the farm, and I don't know, you're just showing it off. It's a field trip, and we're in the I guess the dairy barn for them, where they're milking all their cows, and they were asking us about milking these cows and blah blah blah. And for whatever it was, I don't even know if it was necessarily a question, but I truly believe this. I swear on my life, I said this with confidence, and from everyone's reaction, they thought I was joking, but I seriously said this. I confidently said that yes, the brown cows are what makes chocolate milk. I remember that. I was about 6 years old, and everyone's like, ha ha ha, like a breakout in laughter because they thought I was joking, because apparently chocolate milk doesn't come from brown cows, but they're like, look at Matt, class count. And I just remember right away I got beat red because I was like, no, like I seriously think this. And like 25 people just started laughing at me, the other students, the teachers, the farmers. And I was like, yeah, no, like that makes sense. Like brown cows, chocolate milk, like how else would we have chocolate milk? And everyone laughed and I got beat red. And I have never looked at a brown cow the same way ever since then. And they're like, yeah, my first grade, he means college. Long on chocolate milk. Oh, folks. Ding, 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 dingity, ding, 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 ding. The casino is closed. The casino is wrapped up for today, Tuesday, October 26th. Interesting day. The SPY pretty much break even, but up 0.1%. The Q's up 0.3%. IWM down 0.7%. AMC down 2%, but GME up 2%. Tesla, honestly, after a 12.66% gain yesterday, today it was up down 0.6%. So it barely gave up anything, which is crazy. Bitcoin currently trading at 62,000, Ethereum 4,200, Solana just below 210, Matic $1.80, very nice gain. SHIB looks like it wants to break out at 50, Doge at 26, Cardano 217, would love to see that above 225, Hex knocking on the door of 30 cents, would love for that to push up to 50 cents. I mean, interesting day, a mixed bag of a day. The overall indices a bit like sideways, but in terms of equities, definitely a mixed bag. But hey, it does feel as if some volatility is returning. So whenever volatility is returning, you never know what's going to happen the next day. So I'm hoping for some nice explosive moves tomorrow. Tomorrow I will be streaming at the crack of dawn with all of those chocolate milking farmers at 9 a.m. So I'll be there. And then again in the afternoon, I'll be there for power hour. So 9 to 11, 3 to 4 East Coast time, just so everyone knows. We are doing both these streams. But overall, thank you for the support. Seriously, you guys watching are the exact reason I get to do this. Thank you so much. It does mean the world to me. And until I catch you next time, as always, from me and Cher, best of luck in the markets.